this road. They should be, but not here yet. Okay, so we sent them the they have.
Yes, I sent an invitation to the person from DCA and to Colleen.
Okay, so Ian Hart and Mark Barak, you're not the representatives from DCA or DOT, correct? But they didn't give us. I know we had.
No, I am not. I'm here from Lincoln Square Bid.
No, I'm from La Pecora Bianca, the restaurant.
Okay, well, you know what? They're not here yet, so
Yeah, let's process the application.
let's process the applications then. So let's see. The first one on the agenda is
359 Columbus Avenue. Mr. Barak, what have you to tell us?
That's me. Hello.
hello.
How would you like to proceed? Shall I introduce a little bit our company and restaurant and our plans for the space, or whatever you'd like to ask questions?
Could we just we have your questionnaire and everybody received it. So yeah, if you want to review it, that's great.
Sure. So
DOT and TA are not here yet, Andrew. So we're going to just get this ready. So okay.
So I am the founder and CEO of La Pecora Bianca. We are a casual Italian restaurant group in Manhattan, focusing on house-made pasta and an all-day breakfast, lunch, dinner kind of service model. We currently have 3 locations in New York. Hopefully someone on this Zoom has been to one of our locations. The first one was opened on the corner of 26th and Broadway in 2015. Second one is La Pecora Bianca, LPB for short, Midtown on 50th and 2nd. And believe it or not, we opened our 3rd location in the middle of the pandemic in October 2020. At the corner.
I'm going to have to just catch you for 1 minute. I see that that our representative from
DCA.
the DCA is here. And we want to hear about your restaurant. We want to go to your restaurant, but we've only got an hour with DCA and DOT. Christian, I defer to you. Do you want to, we'll finish this application and go on, or do you want to?
Let's finish it because actually
we're still waiting for DOT.
we're still waiting for DOT.
Okay, so I'm sorry to have interrupted.
Although let's find out who's on the phone number ending in 805.
Paul, is that you?
Oh, that's me. Sorry. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, what's your name?
Are you with DOT?
This is Tangela. No, I'm dialing in through audio. This is Tangela Rahman from the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Tangela. Nice to meet you. Okay, so we're just going to take this one application, go to you while we're still waiting for DOT, and then, I'm sorry, Hussein. Okay, we still can't hear you. Okay, so Mr. Barak, continue. So you tell us about your hours of operation and.
Sure. So we're just to be clear, we are a full service restaurant, casual, accessible price point. We aim to be a kind of third space. It's a bit of a cliche word, I apologize, but a third space in our neighborhoods for anyone who's there, whether they're local residents or business people. We're majority food revenue restaurant. We're a neighborhood restaurant. Our hours of operation are typically, and on this application, it's 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and midnight Friday and Saturday. We're very focused on having a great relationship with all of our neighborhoods and communities. We have a great relationship, for example, with the Flatiron Bid in Nomad, and we really want to support our neighborhoods. And during COVID times, our neighborhoods and our communities have supported us and helped us stay in business. I see Andrew Ridgie on the phone. Thank you, Andrew, for everything that you do. We're really excited to bring a space that was an institution in Isabella's for many years, and hopefully not only live up to the great service that they provide in the neighborhood, but in our own way exceed it. And that's kind of who we are.
Your hours of operation are wonderful. This is very exciting.
Thank you.
And for the neighborhood, hopefully there will be, DOT gets here eventually, you'll have a huge, great outdoor sidewalk cafe for 2022. And when are you planning to open?
So we're planning to open in the fall. Construction pending. We all know the kind of challenges with construction, but I would say September, October.
Anybody have any questions from the committee? Anybody here?
I would just say it's great operators, great restaurant, and I don't live down that block anymore, but it'll be nice to have a new restaurant in that space, and I think they'll do it justice.
Here, here. I agree. with
Anyone
you.
from the public who would has any questions or anything?
Or comment?
Or comments?
I'll comment. This is Nicole Painter from the Columbus Avenue bid. I'm the executive director. We're really excited to have you. I
Yeah,
apologize I'm not on video, but I will email you separately. We're really excited to have you in the neighborhood and can't wait.
thank you.
Thank you. Nicole, my email is, I don't know if it's on the application, it's mark@lapecarabianca.com. Would love to chat.
Perfect. I'll email you tonight. Thanks.
Should we call to
Terrific.
question?
Yeah, call the question. All committee members, all those in favor? Raise your hand. So we have one, two, three,
Amy, you're not a committee
4,
member.
5, 6. So the vote for the committee is 6000.
And the non-committee members?
Non-committee members. We got one. I saw Sima's hand was 2, Mark 3, Michelle 4, and we have Jeanette 5 and Roberta 6.
Okay.
Okay, so that is 6000 also.
Welcome to the neighborhood. You're gonna have more fun here than everywhere else. Okay, now for the highlight of our evening.
Am I done?
Anjila Rahman.
Yes, you are.
You're on your
Thank
own.
you. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank
See you in the
you.
fall. See you in the
We'll be
fall.
there.
Looking
Take
forward to
care.
it.
Bye.
So this evening, and Hussein, we have an hour with Tanjila and DOT. I don't know where you are, DOT, but right now Tanjila Rahman is this wonderful, gracious rep from Department of Consumer Affairs, who's going to talk to us about what's going on with outdoor seating, what can and cannot be done, what the plans are for the spring and the warmer weather and summer. DOT, when they're here, will explain what's going on with curbside. But in the interim, Ms. Rahman.
Before we go forward, the person with the phone number ending in 897, can you tell us who you are? If you need to unmute, you can do a 6-star to unmute.
Star 6.
Star
Star
6
6.
on
Star
you.
6. Star 6 to unmute. Okay, well, let's continue then. Sorry.
Okay, floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Tanjila Rahman. I'm with the New York City Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. We had an agency name change, so we're no longer called DCA. We're now officially New York City Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, DCWP. Thank you so much, Linda, and everyone at the community board for inviting me today. I just wanted to share some quick updates. So our agency's website for businesses, I encourage everyone to please visit our website, nyc.gov/business toolbox for all of the latest information related to the pandemic on our website. We have a lot of great resources on online, services for business owners on our website. And I'll include my email address in the chat. If you guys have any follow-ups after this, you could reach out directly to me. I just want to reiterate that our agency right now, we're not currently accepting any new or renewal sidewalk cafe license applications at this time. Per the mayor's executive order 126, certain laws and rules relating to sidewalk cafes have been suspended to administer the open restaurant program. So if you open a restaurant or bar, you must apply for open restaurant certification to offer outdoor dining service, even if you already have a license with DCA for, unenclosed sidewalk cafe or a small sidewalk cafe. And so we do encourage everyone to visit nyc.gov/open restaurants to learn more. That's administered by the Department of Transportation. I also want to mention that the city waived all consent fees for unenclosed sidewalk cafes last year between March 1st and February of this year. Enclosed sidewalk cafe consent fees are also waived during the duration of the state of emergency. And so any consent fees already collected will be refunded. So as I mentioned, due to the state of emergency and the executive order, we're not, all of our sidewalk cafe rules have been suspended. We're not enforcing any of the sidewalk cafe rules. We're not accepting any applications at this time until the executive order, has been repealed, like until the state of emergency in New York City is over. And as I mentioned, we do have our website, nyc.gov/business toolbox for the latest information for businesses on resources and online services that are available at our, agency. We also have a lot of other information on our website regarding New York City Financial Empowerment Centers that offers free one-on-one financial counseling and coaching for New Yorkers. This is available for business owners as well as, workers. The financial counselors can help, people manage their money and set up a spending plan, separate personal and business finances. To book an appointment, you can go on our website, nyc.gov/talkmoney or call 311. And we also have a lot of information on just like workplace guidance for business owners. And also, we do have a link on our website regarding the Open Storefronts program, which allows storefront businesses to temporarily use a portion of their sidewalk to display merchandise, sell goods, complete transactions, and provide other services. So for more details and to sign up for the program, that's also under the Department of Transportation. So we encourage people to visit nyc.gov/open storefront. And I'll include all the links, in the chat. For the Open Storefront program, if you have a soup line stand license, you're not required to sign up for the program, but we do encourage people to sign up for the Open Storefronts program to take advantage of added benefits. And so we do have, information on our website on that. And then we also have just like other resources for online, licensing appointments, and just like we encourage everyone to definitely visit our nyc.gov/business toolbox to read important information related to the pandemic. So those are my quick updates. I don't know if DOT is on to talk more about the Open Restaurants program. But yeah.
The DOT on that is not in the house yet, and no messages from them, so I'm not sure what's going on. But what we could do, I have a question right now. What about all those restaurants that can't take advantage of curbside seating, that traditionally had sidewalk cafes? Can they use their sidewalk space in a way that they used to, even without the applications?
Are you referring to those businesses if they can utilize indoor space, like enclosed sidewalk cafes, or outdoor?
They're outdoor space. For example, there were plenty of restaurants that were near that they were too close to a bus stop, so they couldn't use the curbside. There are plenty of restaurants off of a left turn lane. They could not use the curbside. So, and it was too cold for their sidewalk cafes. But now as the weather warms up and we know that there are no applications, will they be able to replicate the seating that they've had in the past outside?
You know, that's a really great question. I know that, you know, it was announced that this open restaurants program will be made permanent through the city, right? And the city's going to work with city council regarding like roadway safety, tents, and just like seating requirements. I believe, you know, restaurants, they have to apply online and self-certify. And if there's issues, we definitely encourage businesses to reach out to New York City DOT regarding any issues with applying, and just like if there's like barriers, like roadway barriers, and if there's any blockage. I know that DOT has certain requirements for outdoor dining, so I can't really answer that. I just know that to self-certify, you have to go through the DOT website, and we can also connect you guys to our counterparts at DOT, but we're not the ones that are like inspecting these outdoor open restaurant, you know, permits.
Tangela, but we're very specifically, I'm talking about your purview. Traditionally, the unenclosed sidewalk cafes in front of the restaurants, in front of the frontage of the restaurants, were your purview. So you're saying they're no longer your purview, they're going to become DOTs?
Well, I'm not saying that they're no longer. It's just that because of this executive order, we're not inspecting any sidewalk cafes like our inspectors right now because of this open restaurant program. So like our rules, our regulations are currently suspended. I don't know if it's like a permanent suspension, but because they made open restaurants like a permanent thing, and because of this executive order that the mayor issued last year, you know, we're right now, like our rules are suspended, so we can't really advise restaurants that had a sidewalk cafe license in the past on how to like build their structure and how, you know, what are the limitations to having outdoor or roadway seating. You know, everything just goes through DOT. So we're just waiting to hear back, you know, on any updates regarding the executive order and everything. But right now, just for that license category, like our rules are suspended. So we're not even accepting any new or renewal applications at this time. So everything is pretty much, if you want to have outdoor dining, seating, and create, you know, structures, you have to go through the DOT program.
We're not talking about structures again. We're talking about the traditional unenclosed sidewalk cafe. I'm going to open the floor. Kristen, should we open the floor to questions? Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, let me have one. You mentioned, and I have heard the mayor also say that they want to make the open restaurants program permanent. What do you know from your agency? If that's going to happen, will that be something that they will have to codify to the city council, and it would be maybe different from the way it is now?
Yeah, it would have to go. The program, the open restaurants program, this is something that the city, you know, has worked on with the city council to make these regulatory changes necessary to make the program permanent. So, you know, we do encourage folks to reach out to, you know, to DOT and the council regarding this program. We are not administering it, so it's been very successful, right? This outdoor open restaurants program. So now that it's a permanent thing, it's like a year-round, you know, program now. You know, it's been extended and made permanent, and so basically, you know, this is through DOT and City Council. We will keep everyone informed on what that means for, you know, current, you know, sidewalk cafe license holders. But as I mentioned, we refunded all of the consent fees, and we, if someone wants to have outdoor seating, and they had an unenclosed sidewalk cafe license with us right now, we cannot advise them because of this, you know, program, open restaurants program.
Okay. Well, maybe Andrew, do you have any more information on this? Andrew?
Absolutely. So the law runs, the temporary program runs, I believe, until October. And the law that was passed requires that between now and that time, that the council and administration develop a permanent outdoor dining program. So from now until then, sidewalk cafes, as we've known them, has been suspended, like she just explained. DOT is in charge of all the open restaurant stuff, whether it's on the sidewalk or the roadway. And between now and the fall, essentially, we have to develop a new permanent plan. And that is all in the works. And what it will look like ultimately, who will be in charge of enforcement, how, where you can place everything, what expenses would be involved in that process is all being developed. So
if you've got a restaurant that couldn't take advantage of the open restaurant and curbside and traditionally have an outdoor cafe, that had with commensurate with the warm weather, they can't do it?
well, I'm not clear what, so I'm not
They
clear.
can't put, there's no license, or do they have to go through DOT to be
Yeah,
able to use their?
Yes.
Anyone that wants to participate in the open restaurants program does a self-certification to DOT, and they self-certify that they meet all the requirements, and there are limitations like bus stops, city bike, fire hydrants, and other obstructions, and some of those which you had mentioned earlier, that would limit their ability to participate in the program. In some cases, it just restricts it somewhat. In other cases, it may effectively prohibit them from participating in it because you just have a bus stop. But the current program has about 11,000 restaurants enrolled, and it will run, as I said, until I guess the fall, pending any potential extensions of it, at which time a brand new outdoor dining program will have been established and those rules will be provided. But all of those rules and details are all still stuck in the air. It'll probably take legislative changes. It'll probably take rulemaking changes as well. So there's different comment periods and review periods, and what the details would be, I imagine, subject to hearings and so forth.
But
Yeah, great, Monica. I was going to say we have three bid directors here.
So let's take some questions now, Roberta.
Monica, okay.
Yeah.
And then Monica Blum, she had her hand up.
so what can we do to help? Nothing to do.
At this point, I don't know that there's anything that for us to do until they come up with legislation and or send the or decide to suspend the program.
Well, this is kind of a question for Andrew. Is there stuff that the community board can do to help with?
Hi, Roberta. Yeah, I mean, I think there will be at the time when there's legislation and it's going through the process of what exactly is being proposed. I think the community, this committee at least should certainly review and have a discussion if, they want to support it, if they want to suggest changes, I think we should definitely have a role in that. And I'm, of course, happy to provide any kind of insight or guidance that I can.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Monica Blum had her physical hand up.
So the only thing I want to say is we had a meeting this week and DOT was there, and it's our understanding that any sidewalk cafe that was operating before as a sidewalk cafe is supposed to apply to them.
Right. Yep.
DCA is out of it.
Yeah.
And I think that, we have sidewalk cafes, 3 of them that have, or 4, that have been operating throughout the pandemic, and they were able to expand. At least one of them was able to go on the side street through the open restaurants. But I don't think, I think that anyone who wants to operate their sidewalk cafe now should apply to DOT right away and self-certify. And I see that people are building them all over the place, these outdoor, dining structures, and not only in the curb, on the sidewalk. So I think it's there's what's his name? Kyle there are a couple of people at DOT that are handling this. I think it's Andrew Roman and Kyle, whose last name I can't remember.
One of whom was supposed to be here tonight.
Right. So I think, I think right now DCA has no role. That's my understanding.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
thank you.
Yay.
I also want to clarify that there are certain types of outdoor dining that does not require DOT approvals, but it may require state liquor authority approvals. So if restaurants are utilizing any privately owned outdoor space, like front yards, side yards, right, or courtyards, or if they're utilizing private parking lots or balconies, terraces, open air rooftop spaces, technically those types of spaces, if it's privately owned, they do not require DOT approval. But I will include the link to their open restaurants page in the chat, just in case anyone wants to apply or share the information.
Okay, so Doc.
Yeah, well, first of all, I was actually going to ask Andrew the same thing that Roberta asked, which is that I think we should be involved as legislation starts getting drafted about the new rules. We should certainly have some input, and whatever challenges there might be, as this committee in particular, we should have some input about it. I agree with Monica. It's pretty simple right now. It's all DOT, and yeah, it gets a little confusing on private property. If the building is set back, which is not New York City property, that particular operator did not have to go through DCA, but they would have to go through SLA to serve alcohol on that piece of property. So there are some examples of that in our neighborhood where building is very set back and it's not, it wouldn't have been required, and it's still okay. So, but I think we're starting to see a little bit about what a lot of the restaurants that are operating, there's a little bit of confusion here. It's all well-intended. The fact that these fees were waived is fantastic. And the fact that the Open Streets program is free and open to self-certification, but there's some confusion. And I think that's some of the challenges that we have in the industry. We have to streamline things better, but there's a lot of good things ahead.
Okay, Asima.
Hi, this is either a question for DCA or maybe Andrew. Is there some thought about the differential fee structure that seems to exist? Like having a sidewalk cafe seems so much more expensive than the sort of street cafes. Like how is that, will it be harmonized? How is that going to work? Feels like it disadvantages some restaurants over others. I'm curious if there's thought about that.
I mean, I can just say from my, the work that I do, just to, obviously be transparent, and personally, I feel the same way. So it works out well, is that, the consent fees, which are the expensive fees that restaurants are forced to pay, have had an issue. I mean, you see many restaurants, especially smaller restaurants, that just say it's way too expensive and the whole process has been too expensive and they don't do it. So they're missing out on revenue. And as far as I know, sidewalk cafes are like the only public use that actually is paying rent to the city. If you think of sidewalk newsstands, if you think of mobile vendors, they pay an annual or every 2-year permit, and that's the cost to administer it. And that's it. They don't pay additional, a mobile vendor's not paying an additional, few $1,000s for that area of sidewalk space they take up. So we would hope, again, I would like to see either those fees eliminated, essentially. And I think the amount of, it brings back and hiring people back, generating revenue for the city, and all the economic activity from the outdoor space would actually generate a lot of revenue. We saw since the program was enacted, outdoor dining basically brought back 100,000 jobs to the city. I mean, we're still 140,000 jobs short of where we were pre-pandemic at restaurants and bars, but 100,000 jobs is a lot of jobs and a lot of people's livelihoods. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that something that can be addressed in the legislation or something we should look out for?
I think so. Yeah, that's something that I think definitely will end up being addressed. So, I think when it gets to that point, the board, if people vote in favor, should certainly, support.
Great.
Okay, Mark.
Thanks. That's kind of the segue that I was looking for too, which was that this committee has already heard input from restaurateurs and other businesses about weaknesses in the current system. I remember what was it, the Fred's Cafe, where they happen to be their street bed is where a turn lane is, so there's no facility to allow them to occupy either that space or one around the corner, which made all the sense in the world, but would have required a change of some kind. Anyway, there are things that we're learning as we go, and we've got 3 bid executives here who probably know way more than I can even speculate about this. It would be so smart to start gathering those kinds of things into some kind of a memo that we could supply to our council members prior to this bill getting drafted, because once the bill gets drafted, now you're nipping at the heels of it. But if we could come up with a few practical, real world solutions that they should consider in making the next round of regulation better, and then supply that to our elected officials, who then can bring that to whatever negotiation there is, we might do more good than just a resolution come October that says we're in favor of this. So I'm not sure exactly the right way to go forward, but that sounds smart to me, and I'd be happy to help if that would be useful, although it is right up the alley of this committee and, you know, in your wheelhouse, so I don't presume to add anything to that conversation.
It's a great idea.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else has questions? Okay.
Our bid directors, Peter, Nicole?
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Okay,
Hi.
that's his comment.
Sorry.
Stubbed your toe under
In
the
any
bed.
case, hi. Thank you. Yeah, the open streets for restaurants has just been a huge help for our neighborhood. And we pulled it back from 97th Street when it got cold and dark. So we've been doing 106 to 110. We've been told that we'll need to reapply to get back down to 97th Street. We're also hoping to use a portion of Columbus between 106th and 110th if possible. We're running into opposition or concerns from the precinct. And I'll just say that DOT has been remarkably innovative and accommodating, and they've been willing to try things that they knew that they ostensibly were against with us. I mean, Amsterdam Avenue is a truck route. Amsterdam Avenue has buses, and they worked with us and we worked with them, and we talked about a number of different possibilities. They decided against most of them, but we insisted that we would not do it on Fridays because of the outgoing traffic on Amsterdam, and because I just didn't know that we could control it. So we're doing Saturdays and Sundays, and I really appreciate everything that DOT has done to support us on it, but it has been a very odd time. So anyway, that's my thoughts for the moment. Feel free to ask me questions.
Thank you, Peter. Nicole, did you want to add anything?
Sure, I'll just flag a couple of issues that I would like to keep an eye on, I guess, as new regulations come forward. Is just we're still quite concerned about the bike lane and the safety of that. We still want to be able to use the parking spots, but just to make sure there's a good sort of system around the bike lanes would be great. And then just another sort of, we have a few instances of where city bikes are why a restaurant can't have open seating. And so if it's a long-term program, either, just that's another, we have quite a few restaurants that's why they can't do outdoor seating. So I'd like to keep an eye on that, I guess, for regulation. And then just leaving enough time for restaurants to really make their changes. I know we were in a pandemic, so rules were changing left and right, and it was hard to keep up. So hopefully with a more permanent program, the restaurants have ample time to really plan ahead and for their outdoor setup.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well,
Okay, so let's bring this section of the meeting to an end. And move on
I
to,
just really want to thank Tanjili Raman. Bravo, thank you for being here, for being so brave to be here with DCA and without DOT. Thank you so very much.
okay, so we have the other application now.
Yeah, we're moving on to the next application.
108 West 74th.
Hello, Donald Bernstein. Hello, Zaino there.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
You're great. We're all great.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Hi, Linda. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. I had to switch to my iPhone. I don't know. I couldn't use the Mac.
Gotcha.
Sorry about that.
So I'm here with Hussein, and this application is for Layla. You know that he also has Bodrum on West 88th Street. Layla opened when, in 2019, Hussein?
Yes, March 6, 2019.
Yeah, and was doing great until, of course, about a year ago. And you may recall that when we appeared before you back in 2018, we applied for Layla, which is a beautiful, quaint, small restaurant. And it had a small backyard courtyard that could fit about 13 people in it. And there were some issues and concerns by people that they didn't want the use of outdoor space. And we decided at the time to forego it, and we did. That was then, and we're in a different world now. I don't need to explain to you how the restaurant industry has been decimated. Hussein's business is down 85%. He has people that call him all the time. We want to come. Do you have outdoor space? Do you have outdoor space? And he hasn't been able to offer it. Even with the opening of indoor space, because he's small, his occupancy at 35% is about 22 people. That's all he can have right now. And even with that small space, some people, even though it's permitted, don't want to eat indoors. So it's been a real problem. He's not been able to take advantage of the street seating, primarily because he hasn't been able to afford to construct what he needs to have out there. So it is really imperative for him to make use of this 300 square foot outdoor courtyard in the back. It is legally permitted. In fact, the C of O that is attached to the papers that I sent you, or sent to the office, and you should all have. The C of O for this space actually specifically refers to the outdoor courtyard with a legal occupancy of 13 people and says it's for restaurant use. So it must have been used at some point for a restaurant. It certainly is a legally permissible use for that. It would only have 6 tables and 13 seats. We would have reasonable hours. So during the week, everybody would be out by 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, everybody would be out by 10:30. You can't really do earlier than that, because if people come to sit, to make a reservation or sit at 8 o'clock, we want them to be able to enjoy a meal and not tell them that they have to be rushed and that they have to get out. There will not be any music outside. When he can put up umbrellas, he'll have umbrellas. If he can put any soundproofing on the brick that you see in the photos that can help dampen sound, he will. We sent you, included in our package, I think you have 4 or 5 letters from residents who live on the block, who live next door, that are supportive of this. It's a popular place. He's a great operator, and he really needs to do this.
Well, actually, we had more than 6, 7 people supporting us. When we opened it up, we had a lot of people coming from the building behind the backyard, the patio, and even they were supportive. They were in favor of us to getting the backyard patio a year ago, but then now, past 1 year, we're almost closed. We barely see any of our regulars, so I could get only few of the letters, but most of them are very happy with us. We didn't have any complaints. We are very respectful. Not only me, my staff. We most of the people who came, for the first board meeting, who were against us, they become a regular. Most of them are our regulars now. And this will be a great help if I can at least utilize the backyard patio when the weather permits. I had an architect, and my landlord was there. We were talking about to see if we can enclose it somehow, but it's a landmark building, so that's not possible. And the other issue is it beats the purpose. If we enclose it, it's going to be like an indoor dining.
Okay. I would say that we seem to be inclined to approve this. Anybody has questions?
I have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
A year ago, we had a bunch of angry neighbors saying, no, he can't do it. And we knew that Hussein was one of the best restaurant operators in the
Thank
city.
you.
That you were spectacular, and we knew that you would have a successful restaurant. I guess 2 years ago now, because we've lost a year.
Yes.
But we've gotten, and everybody on the committee received them, we've gotten the most heartwarming from a lot of the same people who were initially so skeptical. We've gotten these extraordinary letters from them because they know what a jewel they have in their on their block right around them. So and your hours of operation are perfect. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, but I open it up to everybody else and I'll stop talking.
No brainer.
Okay, Doc.
So in full disclosure, I am a friend and a broker of Hussein. I was a consultant on this deal, so I will not be voting, but I just want to say affirmatively, to anyone who doubted that Hussein was going to be an incredible operator, a wonderful addition to our neighborhood, I told you so.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and it's true. He's a good man. He's a family man. He's a wonderful operator. The food's fantastic. It's affordable. It's a quiet operation. Anyone that was afraid, and people have a right to be afraid because there have been some bad operators that, make a lot of noise. He's not that. So anyway, I obviously fully support this, and I urge everybody to. I will not be voting. And I just want to say one other thing. He's also a very generous person and has offered to help people that are hungry despite his financial challenges. He's been generous with the community at large. So that's another thing that I think really gives him a leg up. And now I'll shut up.
Anyone else wants to comment?
Full support.
Okay, well, call the question then?
Yes, call the question.
All those in favor, committee members? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Madeline, you voting? Okay, 5. Okay, so the votes in favor 5001. Non-committee members. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm missing one. Michelle 5. Okay, so non-committee members is 5000. So it's approved.
Yeah, I just wanted to, thanks so much. I just wanted to add that under the SLA rules, since we had a restriction against using it, we could not use it under their temporary rules, but with your approval, we can. So this is an application for a permanent alteration, which could take a couple of months. But if you include in your resolution that you would approve the use under the temporary rules, he can start it tomorrow.
Great.
Okay, we'll do that then.
So appreciate that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
See you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you.
Wow, this was faster than I thought.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, and congratulations. I'm so happy you've got that backyard. Well
Thank you.
done. So, and how's Bodrum coming? Oh, she's gone.
Bodrum is doing good. With Bodrum, I've been in the neighborhood for almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And I have a big advantage of having a big sidewalk cafe. And then plus the roadside seating, it's a big plus. At one point, I had to let go my like 50% of my staff, but now I have almost all of them back. So everybody's happy. At Bodrum everybody's happy, but slowly I'm gonna start hiring my staff back at Leila. Some of the team members, they left town, they left the state. But then we're gonna put it back together. We're gonna put it back together.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Thank you. And so we'll see you at Bodrum. We'll see you
We'll
later.
see. Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take
Now,
care.
have a
Bye-bye.
good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Okay, so we move on to new business now. Anyone else? Anybody has any new business? Okay, so Linda and I have at least one. We want at least want to talk about taking minutes for the meetings. We will be we're gonna have to come up. We're gonna come with a schedule, a rotating schedule for the members to take minutes, and well, we will. We wanted to know if anybody, everybody had any thoughts about this.
I want to say this. There's a button that you click. It says live transcript, and you could get everything there. And then that's taking notes. I'm looking at it right now. It's taking every note, every little thing we say. And then I don't know if that's on everybody else's Zoom.
Yes.
I say reverse alphabetical order by last name.
Of course. I'm good with that.
Doesn't matter to me either way. I don't care either way.
Josh, you're on tomorrow.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I know. I'm only kidding.
I know the schedule.
We will come up with a schedule, send it to you guys, and if any conflicts, you let us know.
Yeah, of course.
You want to? We're going to be having a talk, Linda, myself, with Jeanette and Ethel about the store vacancies, and I just want to see if any of you had any input towards that.
So yeah, with Jeanette and so BCI and land use are meeting tomorrow, and Doug because he's to talk about vacancies, and Ethel. And so if anybody has any input, I mean, Jeanette put together the most spectacular review, almost like a white paper of what was going on. And of course, Doug, and of course we work with DCI. So we work with the retailers in the neighborhood directly in the restaurants. Doug, of course, does this for a living, as do I, because I write about it. I've been writing about it for 30 years. So what we'll do is we'll write a review and we'll send it out to the committee. We're talking about a possible roll into the Broadway task force, more or less rolling it into our committee now. And so we'll be dealing with some very important issues, seminal issues about retail in our community. And obviously it suffered during the pandemic, but it had been suffering for many years. I mean, in going back as far back as December 2007, when the 80-20 professional space restrictions were rescinded for cooperatives. And so it really does go back. And so it's been a slow process, but right now we're here. So, yes.
Yes, Ethel.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It's Jeanette and Ethel created this paper. We have worked together. Yes, we have worked together completely.
Very, very well done. Yeah.
Well, that's why I said the two of us did it, because that's
yeah. No, it's really
okay. Yeah. And this was our thinking things through, and it was our initiative within land use, and very, very eager to have a first conversation with the co-chairs of BCI very soon in order to get some other ideas and points and be able to bring back to the BCI committee and to see what particular steps and help Community Board 7 can engage in this very, very important issue. And so we'll be doing that together with everybody very soon. And very much looking forward, because this is very much a BCI key issue, but land use does have a part in the sense of the streets and the effect and the sidewalks and so on, but very eager to work together. And we'll try to do it after we just have an informal discussion very soon with the co-chairs, and then back to an appropriate discussion from your committee.
For the committee, yeah. So this is an informal discussion tomorrow night, and we're going to just keep it to the 5 of us, 6 of us, and then it comes back to committee.
Exactly.
To the public.
Yes, exactly.
Seema.
I'm so excited that you are all taking the initiative to do this. I'd love to, I feel like the pandemic has accelerated the pace of some of the changes to our streetscape, and some are fantastic. Some are responsible for saving the restaurants, to the extent that we know it. But it also, I feel like, has introduced a serious amount of safety issues as well, and also a bit of chaos to the streetscape. And so I don't know exactly what your mandate is, but I would love to see if there's some way that we could think about a more systematic review of what the streetscape looks like in our district, and to the extent that we could add some sort of order to it in some way, and maybe even anticipate some of the future challenges on the way. I think that would be incredibly helpful.
I think that's certainly an ancillary situation. What we're really specifically addressing right now, the streetscape in general is that it's all organic. It's all part of the same thing. It's all part of a whole. But right now we're talking about what precipitated and what we can talk about with the empty stores, very specifically empty stores. Something that the Broadway, you did on the Broadway task force, where there are no answers per se, but there are ideas about how to make it better. That's about it.
Well, we are doing exactly what Linda said, but Seema's points are so clearly important. And as we began to try to just list some of the potential issues, we did identify in general that some of the points that you made just now, because how can you not at least identify some of this and not make any value judgments, but just understand what has been happening to all of our commercial streets since the pandemic. So I think we all look forward to, all of us with our knowledge and expertise, being able to focus on this in an appropriate way.
Yeah, I think we're coming out with different disciplines. Yeah, Jeanette.
Yeah, if I could just add, I totally agree the streetscape is a vital piece, but I feel like that's almost phase 2 of this.
Exactly.
What we wanted to do was take a step back and look at what are all the reasons why our storefronts, whether they be a restaurant or retail or a service entity, are vacant. And we know that some of the reasons they're vacant are, because people are buying things online, because, for changes in people's purchasing power. So some of them are global things that we can't affect, but we wanted to first see, are there certain things, look at the main channels as to why. For instance, when I was working in Long Island City, a lot of effort was put towards marketing the community to retailers to come there. Maybe we take for granted that the Upper West Side, everybody wants to come and open their shop here, but maybe not. Maybe we need to target, some of those. But we just wanted to start there rather than jump right into redesigning the street or saying, let's throw in a pop-up shop there and an art exhibit here. Maybe one of the things, and I'm a little hesitant to talk too much about this because we haven't discussed it all with the land use committee, but we're trying to figure out, are we just looking generally at policy? or should we really focus on a street or two as like a demonstration project or something, and say, you know, we're trying to understand how unique is each shop front, each space, versus how many of these have, you know, some commonalities that, you know, the community board can be aware, either in help raising the issues or having, you know, local suggestions based on local knowledge on how to help it. But absolutely, I mean, one of the reasons I came tonight is I wanted to hear DOT speak. It's disappointing they didn't show up.
Yeah.
Oh, they haven't showed up?
No,
Oh,
they
dear.
didn't show up.
Oh,
And
dear.
PK did, and basically what she said is, "There's nothing I can do right now." I'm like, humana. But she was very brave and lovely, and she was really terrific. But I have to write a letter of recommendation. Just say thank you, you know. They're like, what do you mean you don't know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, the DOT has been taking many steps and improvising a lot.
Yeah, that's probably why they didn't come, because it was really.
I know, it seems, but anyway, just everything, just echoing what Jeanette and what you all have said. We're trying to begin to identify and work together, and to do that very soon. I just want to say one other thing.
I'm going to catch up for one second. I just want to say Madeline has to leave.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
Madeline, no, I'm just interrupting. Thank you so much, and thanks, and Godspeed with your puppy, and
Thank you.
I heard it with you.
All right.
Thank you, Madeline.
Bye.
Okay, Ethel.
Sorry.
Okay, I mean, there's nothing, no, I mean, I'm not going to go on, just two minutes. That just as you just said, Jeanette, that we know that the streets and the stores and the character are special, that Broadway is not the same as Amsterdam like Columbus, and we're aware of that. At the same time, we know that there are certain kinds of patterns and development over the years that comes to the Upper West Side. So we'll be just doing our best to try to see what we can do in these very challenging times and to help.
Thank you.
That's what you can do. Peter, you wanted to unmute? You're muted.
Hi, thank you. So, I just wanted to say that I think that we on Amsterdam have really benefited from having small spaces. And I want to just really emphasize that it's made a huge difference. I mean, we have 6 new restaurants that have opened up in the past year, and just that they're willing to use that small space. Amsterdam is not Broadway, but I will say that the bill that Gail Brewer sponsored and pushed, mandating smaller spaces, has really been positive. And I wish it had covered Columbus, which it did not. Columbus up in our neighborhood.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Columbus Avenue between 60 and I shouldn't be speaking for Nicole, but between 67th and 82nd Street is a success story for the most part. I mean, their vacancies are relatively low. So a lot of that has to do with the physical plant. You're right. So,
but anyway, I just wanted to suggest that any move to allow for small operators to come in and try something new is going to be positive in the long run. They grow. I mean, we've got Ellington that opened up on 106th in Amsterdam. They're now moving over to 105th, taking over the old Henry's space. They expect to open within a month or two.
Yay!
Yeah, that's a real positive one. We're highlighting her as a Wonder Woman of for March as one of the female entrepreneurs in our neighborhood.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyway, so I just wanted to emphasize that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doug, you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, and I appreciate Peter's, input, and this is something we'll discuss, and this is just food for thought. So the same program, the storefront restriction that tries to preserve smaller storefronts and also prevents smaller businesses from growing because they cannot go beyond 40 feet.
Yep.
So some of these businesses that have thrived and some of the businesses that we love could not actually open now because they have the restriction. So it's a double-edged sword. And I've always said publicly, the law, the zoning, redistricting is always well-intended. I don't doubt that, but it'll be food for thought, a topic of conversation.
It did have some really negative effect on some of the, it did. We lost a lot of businesses.
Okay, so unless there is any other new business, we're going to bring the meeting to a close. We thank you all for coming. Thank you to Linda, Madeline tonight.
Right.
Nicole, anything you want to say on part of the bid or?
No, I'm happy to be here. Listen.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Nicole.
So,
okay, have a good night, everybody.
Good night, and I'll see some of us tomorrow.
Night, everybody.